He didn't know her name, all he knew was that she was crying, mascara running down her cheeks, bouquet trembling in her hand, and a look of pure panic in her eyes. Daniel had only come to the hotel to drop off a forgotten phone charger for his friend. But when he saw the bride burst through the grand hall doors, gasping for air, something in him said, "Don't just stand there, please," she whispered, clutching her dress. "I can't do this." Without thinking, he grabbed her hand, and then they ran past the shocked guests, down the marble staircase, through a sea of white flowers and whispers. The world blurred behind them. When they finally reached the street, she stopped, breathless, tears mixing with rain. "Thank you," she said softly. "I don't even know you." Daniel smiled, still holding her hand. "Then let's start there." The hall fell silent, the music stopped, the guests froze, and all eyes turned to the bride who stood trembling at the top of the stairs. "Emma," the groom called softly, his voice unsure. But she couldn't look at him. The air felt too heavy, her chest too tight. Then, from the corner of the room, a man stepped forward, the same stranger who had helped her earlier that morning when her car broke down on the way to the church. He was supposed to be gone by now. Yet here he was. Their eyes met for a moment, the noise faded. The chatter, the whispers, even the sound of her own heartbeat, everything went still. He held out his hand, calm but firm. "You don't have to do this," he said quietly. Emma blinked back tears. "But everyone's watching." "Then let them watch," he replied. "Just don't let them decide your life." Her bouquet trembled. Behind her, the bridesmaids exchanged confused glances, and the groom took a hesitant step forward, but Emma didn't move toward him. Instead, she took the stranger's hand. A collective gasp filled the room as he helped her down the marble stairs, the petals crunching softly under her shoes, and as they reached the bottom, she whispered, "I don't even know your name." He smiled, just a little. "Daniel." "Emma," she replied breathlessly. "I know," he said. "Let's get you out of here." And for the first time that day, she smiled, not because she was supposed to, but because she finally wanted. They didn't stop running until they reached the edge of the church grounds. Emma's veil tore slightly as she clutched her dress, gasping for breath. Daniel turned back to check if anyone was following. The sound of distant voices echoed from the church steps, but no one came after them. "Hey," he said gently, catching her trembling hand. "You're okay now. You're safe." Emma shook her head, tears spilling down her cheeks. "No, I'm not. I just walked out on my own wedding." Daniel gave a small, reassuring smile. "You didn't walk out, you walked away from something that didn't feel right. There's a difference." She looked at him, then really looked at him. His calm eyes, the quiet certainty in his voice. It was strange how someone she barely knew could make her feel steady. "What am I supposed to do now?" she whispered. "Start over," he said simply. "Maybe not today. But soon." A faint breeze lifted her veil, and for the first time, she laughed, soft, shaky, but real. "You make that sound so easy." "It's not," he admitted. "But it's worth it." He glanced toward the road, then back at her. "Come on. Let's get you out of that dress before someone decides to chase us down." She blinked. "And go where?" He grinned. "There's a diner about 2 miles from here. Best coffee in town. You can tell me the whole story, or not. Either way, I'm buying." Emma hesitated for only a second before nodding. "Okay. Coffee sounds nice." As they walked toward his car, the setting sun painted everything gold. She didn't know what tomorrow would bring, but for the first time in a long time, she wasn't afraid of it. And Daniel, still holding her hand, thought quietly to himself, maybe some escapes are really just beginnings in disguise. The small diner at the edge of town was nearly empty when they walked in. The bell above the door chimed softly, and the smell of coffee and warm pie filled the air. Emma's wedding gown trailed behind her like a ghost of the life she'd just left behind. Daniel opened the door for her, trying to hide his smile. "You're definitely overdressed for coffee." She gave a tired laugh. "You think?" They slid into a corner booth, away from the windows. The waitress gave them a curious glance. A man in a tuxedo and a bride in a wedding dress weren't exactly everyday customers, but said nothing. Just poured them 2 mugs of steaming coffee and disappeared. For a few moments, neither of them spoke. The silence wasn't awkward, just heavy. Finally, Daniel broke it. "So," he said softly, "do you want to tell me why you ran?" Emma looked down at her coffee, tracing the rim of the cup with her finger. I was supposed to marry a man everyone said was perfect, charming, successful, safe. But every time I pictured our life together, I felt nothing. Just trapped. She paused, blinking back tears. I thought something was wrong with me. But when I saw him at the altar, smiling like we were about to sign a business deal instead of getting married, I realized it wasn't fear. It was my heart saying no. Daniel nodded slowly. Sometimes silence is the loudest answer. She met his eyes then, and for the first time that day, she didn't feel judged. Just seen, what about you? She asked. Why were you even there? He smiled faintly. Wrong place, right time, I guess. I was delivering something to a friend. Saw you crying in the hallway. And I just couldn't walk away. Emma studied him for a moment. You didn't even know me. Why help me? Daniel leaned back, his eyes soft but steady. Because you looked like someone who hadn't been helped in a long time. Her breath caught, and for a fleeting second, the world outside the diner didn't exist. Just two strangers, both a little lost, finding calm in the quiet. She smiled through the tears. Thank you, Daniel. He lifted his mug in a small toast. To second chances. She raised hers too, clinking it gently against his. To finally listening to your heart. Outside, the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the world in gold and rose. Inside, two souls who had run from everything were, for the first time, running toward something they just didn't know it yet.